Caddis Maximus here. This time just a simple review of the Nevados Klondike Waterproof Low. I guess they'd be considered general hiking shoes, and they were definitely dissatisfactory. Nevados is a cheaper, more budget brand, but they tend to be, okay versus, say, some of the very cheapest shoes out there. But my big disappointment is they were on sale, and it was the rainy season. I can't remember when I got these. And they were waterproof. So I thought, okay, I'll get them, and if it's a little bit rainy, it's kind of nice to have waterproof shoes. That way, if you get caught in a little bit of rain, or you're walking around with an umbrella, or, splash a little water on your shoes from a puddle, you don't have to worry about cold or wet feet. And that's kind of the deal with waterproof shoes. They work on a breathable membrane, which is basically a type of foam or plastic, which has tiny little holes, and the holes are so small that the surface tension of water can't get through them. But the evaporated water, the steam from your feet, is able to, because it's really small, and it's too small to be subject to that same surface tension, because it isn't, say, a body of water. A droplet would be considered a body, or a drop of water would be considered a body of water, versus the steam that's coming off and allows your feet to ventilate. And Gore-Tex and Gore-Tex type knockoffs, that's the real trademark to that type of technology, really isn't meant for, walking through creeks and that kind of thing. Really, if you're going to be in heavy-duty water or standing in puddles, you need rubber boots. There's a reason they're still around. The issue with these Nevados is they were advertised as waterproof, and they did have a kind of a interesting membrane. This is always what some waterproof membrane looks like. It has some type of fabric that is molded over or pressed onto the actual waterproof membrane. My issue was that it just didn't seem to work at all. As soon as the shoes really started to get wet at all from some rain, which is where Gore-Tex is the best, where the shoes are getting wet but they're not in standing water, they can really take quite a bit of moisture. Really surprising. I mean, it takes an hour or 2 hours, 3 hours of really being in constant wet driving rain, and these aren't that warm. And the water just went right through. So I figured I'd make this review just to give people a little bit of a heads up. Anybody who may be thinking just buying some cheap shoes, there's a reason these companies are around, is because they do sell a lot of shoes. You should probably pass on those and really question Nevados waterproofing, because they will let you down when you really want them to perform well. So maybe some of their newer shoes might be better, but I'm not quite so sure. And I'll include the part numbers that they have on the tongue there in the description. Other aspects of this which I thought were, better, is I like that they had nice heavy-duty eyelets. They have this little strap system, which is kind of, Nike really pioneered this, but this strap is actually sewn back here, so when you pull the laces tight, it actually pulls the whole collar of the shoe a little tighter rather than just relying on the front part. And these top loops are actually hooks, and I kind of like that too, and I like how they were riveted. I will say that the soles, not the best wear resistance. For some reason, this shoe turned out to be a lot better than this one. This one really seemed to wear out pretty fast, and it was really kind of odd because I don't walk that lopsided, or so lopsided that one shoe would actually have such a severe wear difference. Almost all my shoes, just like those Pumas I reviewed recently, wear pretty evenly, but for some reason there was a difference in the material between these two shoes, because one shoe just really wore out way faster than the other one. So I did want to point out that inconsistency. They do tend to have kind of thin insoles. If we pull out the insoles, then they're just real basic, super thin. They really are super duper thin, so not a whole lot of insole. And we can see the whole waterproof membrane in there, but it just didn't perform. It just didn't perform at all. Sizing seems appropriate on these shoes, although I had some other issues where it's pretty common to use these type of toe protection materials, but this was like really weak and really wanted to tear and crack in just about no time. So they were pretty cheap shoes, but the problem with cheap shoes is if you spend $20 or $30 and the shoes fall apart in a month or two, you're spending another $20 or $30. When if you spent $60, you probably get a pair of shoes that would last you 6 months. There is a big drop-off in quality around the $50 mark, it seems, with shoes. As soon as you go below $50, you're not really going to find any kind of footwear, unless maybe it's a sandal. that's going to really hold up at all. As soon as you start spending $50 or more, then they do tend to hold up much better. That would be retail prices, and the great thing about shoes is you can always find them on sale, and sometimes those sales can be extreme. No joke. You know, you can get a pair of 80 or 100. I mean, I've often gotten pairs of new, you know, in department stores, $100 Nikes where they're marked down, say 20%, so they're $80, and then it's half off the sale price, which makes them $40. Then it's actually kind of worthy. So it's something to think about. Anyway, I'm going to end this review here. I just want to do a quick review of these Nevados Klondikes and just provide a heads up. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing, and if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the Catus Maximus channel. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.